What is up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. Today, guys, we're talking about protein.
I am the greatest.
Someone with power. Someone with power. Someone with gas. Someone with power.
Alright, guys, so this video isn't going to be that long. There's just a couple things I want to address. So, across the board, everybody pretty much knows that protein is important, not just for the sake of muscle mass, because it's pretty much what our muscles are made of, but just for overall health. Like, there's a lot of functions that go on inside our body physiologically that need protein in order to work. So it's pretty much like water in the sense of, universally speaking, everybody knows that it's important. The problem is, guys, is people get confused on the amount of protein that they should take based upon their goals, as well as how much protein can their body absorb at once. So I pretty much want to talk about mainly those two topics. Now, first of all, let me go ahead and say that I'm not in any way bashing high protein diets. Not at all. If that's what you like or if that's what you enjoy, that's fine. I simply want to address what reasons there should be for a higher protein diet, how much protein you actually need to build or maintain muscle mass, as well as how much you're going to actually absorb. And I'll have a few links in the description down below that are going to help explain a few of these points in more detail. As you guys know, I like to keep it simple for you guys, but if you want a more thorough breakdown of everything, then go ahead and check those links out down below. So, getting started, as far as how much protein you can absorb, there's this huge myth that's been just going around forever, and like most myths, if it's said often enough, people start to take it as truth, as facts. They don't even question it or even think about the science behind it, and that's that your body can only absorb up to 30 grams of protein at a time. Guys, this isn't true at all. Are there certain benefits to spreading your total protein intake throughout the day to where you're taking, 30 grams of protein maybe per meal? Sure, there's certainly certain benefits to that. None that are so huge in the grand scheme of things, because so long as you get your total protein intake daily, how you spread it out doesn't necessarily matter. But the fact is that the idea that your body can only absorb 30 grams at a time simply isn't true, guys. Now, it is true that studies show that you want to be trying taking at least 20 grams of protein in a serving, meaning if it's anything under that, we have seen certain benefits for muscle building as far as how much you take at a time. But even with that, even with something like that, it's such a minuscule percentage that it doesn't matter. So if you choose to take 10 grams at one point and then 50 grams at another point, at the end of the day, like I said, it's hitting that daily total. As far as the way that our bodies work, even though, yes, if you take in more than 30 grams of protein, is it going to take your body longer to absorb and use it? Yes, but it still uses all of it. It still absorbs and uses all of it for muscle building and for energy. A lot of people also have this fear of, but if I eat more than 30 grams of protein, isn't going to turn that protein into fat? Guys, out of the three macronutrients, protein is the least likely out of all of them to be turned into fat, just because of how much is needed and is utilized for the body and the way that it works. Your carbs and your fats, yes, those that are not used for direct energy output are going to go into your fat storages. That's why, if you're in a surplus and you're not working out, giving your body a reason to use that energy, it's going to store it as fat. But protein is the last one that it'll do that for. It's the last macronutrient that it'll store as fat. So as long as you're training consistently, you're going to be fine as far as that. The protein is going to be used for your muscle building as well as just other energy sources. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm not even quite sure how or where that myth got started in the first place, but basically people just have this mindset of, when bodybuilders started taking it 5-6 meals a day, they would spread their protein out that way. So as it often happens, people started mimicking that. But at the end of the day, guys, I just want to assure you that there is no cap. Science has proven it, research tests have proven it again and again. And physiologically speaking, there is no cap for the amount of protein that your body's going to absorb at once. It's not just going to disappear in your body if you go over 30 grams, or you're not just going to crap it all out. Your body will use all of this. You don't have to worry about that. If you're someone who has, let's say instead of 6 meals throughout the day, you just eat 2 or 3 meals a day and you get all your protein in those 2 or 3 meals and it's way over 30 grams of protein, you're fine. I promise you have nothing to worry about as far as that. So, second thing that I want to address is the amount of protein that people take in. So, this whole thing with the whole, 1 to 2 grams per pound body weight, guys, once again, simply isn't necessary. Now, let me first start off by saying there's nothing wrong with taking in 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you enjoy extra protein because you just like protein-based foods as far as how they taste, or if you're someone who understands that eating protein takes the body a little bit longer to digest, it takes a little bit longer to absorb, so it's going to keep you full, that's fine. That's why I recommend in my video talking about understanding calories and macros, where I tell you guys how to calculate your calories and macros, which I will link down below in the description for any of you who want to look over that and need that. I express how if you're maintaining, then about 0.5 grams per pound of body weight is enough protein. If you're bulking, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, and if you're cutting, 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, I don't do that 1 gram because that's how much you need. I do that because usually when you're cutting, what's the biggest problem? People get hungry. So a little bit more protein is gonna help with that. That's why I said the 1 gram per pound, but it's not because it's necessary, guys. So number one thing that you guys have to understand, and it's like I said, the link will be down below that where they talk about these studies, but they show, guys, that for building and maintaining muscle mass, there's no need to have any more than 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, period. Even for people who think like, oh, but I'm advanced and I've been lifting for this many years. Well, in actuality, guys, the longer you've been lifting, the less protein you actually need because your body gets more efficient at holding on to and maintaining muscle mass. And it's not gonna need as much protein to build muscle mass either, just because you're gonna be building muscle mass slower and slower each year to the diminished returns. So as a beginner, you're gonna need more protein in general anyway, but even then, no more than 0.8 grams per pound. And where that comes from, guys, is the fact that, first of all, it was never 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's technically 1 gram per kilogram, which basically means if you take your body weight and you divide that by 2.2, that's 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, pretty much. That's why I do the whole just 0.5, because it's a little bit easier for people to just, cut their body weight in half than to do the whole, division by 2.2. And that's another thing, guys. The reason that the whole 1 gram thing came about was also because, well, hey, it's just a lot easier to just think of it as 1 gram per pound of body weight instead of 0.8. And once again, there's nothing wrong with 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's just understanding that if you're not hitting that, if you're only hitting the 0.8, you're gonna be fine. And in actuality, guys, like I said, the 0.5 is more than enough too, because studies have shown us that even just taking in like half of your body weight in grams for protein is more than enough for building and maintaining muscle mass. But there's absolutely no reason that you'll ever need more than 0.8. Once again, your body will still use all of it, but not necessarily for holding on or building muscle. Use it for other energy sources and outputs as well. So that's something I want you guys to understand. And how this myth came about when it went beyond that, like more than 1 gram, we have people saying, oh, taking 2 grams and things like that. Once again, guys, bodybuilders, and usually not natural ones either, because you have to understand, guys, when you're on a bunch of androgens, like steroids, that's something that's inside of steroids, your body works a little bit differently physiologically. Your protein synthesis works a little bit differently. And as such, they are going to need more protein. One, they're building a whole lot more muscle mass at a much faster rate due to the drugs that they're on. And because of that, that's why you see a bunch of these big time bodybuilders taking in anywhere from 1 to 2 grams per pound of body weight, no matter what they're doing, bulking, cutting, maintaining, because it's different from them, guys. Once again, you can't take the exceptions or the outliers and apply it to general population. If you're someone who's natural, then there's no reason for you to have more than 0.8 grams as far as just holding on to and building muscle mass. It's like, let me make this clear. You can have more than that if you want, but don't be one of these people who get so scared that, oh man, I didn't have 1 to 2 grams per pound of body weight, I'm gonna lose all my muscle mass. Like, no, it's just not true. It's just a myth, just like the whole anabolic window where if you don't have protein within 30 minutes of your workout, oh man, you're gonna lose all your gains. It's just not true, guys. It's not backed by science. Once again, these are things that have just been said in the past, have been repeated over and over and over again to where they've just been truth in the fitness industry. Nobody even questions the validity of it. Like whenever somebody says like, oh, you don't need, 1 gram per pound technically, like people freak out. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? You crazy? Everybody does that. But once again, guys, you have to look at the science behind this and how this works. Like I said, that myth came about from one, first of all, it doesn't take much for myths to like just stick around. Like they're kind of self-perpetuating anyway. Two, as I said, the bodybuilders who are on androgens and steroids, and therefore they're gonna need a higher protein intake. And much like with the bro splits, naturals try to take what we see these bodybuilders do, which are like, oh, they're doing this and it works for them, so it's gonna work for me, not taking into account steroids. Three, there were some old research studies based off like how nitrogen works inside our bodies that suggested that, oh, more protein is going to help with more muscle building. But guys, that's from the time like when people still thought the earth was flat. We have new science, new research, and new evidence since then. And that's the main thing you guys have to understand. It's like I said, the research is always showing us different things. We're always looking at what works and what doesn't, but across the board, like I said, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight is all you'll ever need, regardless if you're bulking, maintaining, or cutting. And like I said, 0.5 grams is plenty for when you're just maintaining. So just keep that in mind. And then another way that this myth kind of like kept going and getting perpetuated, guys, was the whole, if this thing is good, then more of it must be better, right? Because like, once again, protein is very important for the body. It's like I said, it's just like water. No one debates how important water is or how important protein is, but it's just this mindset that is oh, because this is good, we must have more and more of it in order to build more and more muscle mass, but that's just not how it works, guys. So, and just remember, guys, like I said in my last video, being scientific doesn't mean being dogmatic. If you're someone who chooses to be on the higher end of your protein intake, where you're taking, the 1 grams per pound of body weight, or maybe you are just taking the 2 grams just because it keeps you full, that's the type of diet you're used to and you want to stick to that, that's fine. But at the same time, those of you who are more on the minimalist side, where you're taking exactly just 0.8 grams or even 0.5 grams per pound of body weight, that's okay too, guys. Like I said, what's great about the science of this is the beauty of the ranges that we have to work with, you know what I'm saying? So don't bash one another. And keep in mind, guys, usually dogmas come from somebody trying to sell you something. I mean, that's the last thing I want to say, guys. Just think about it. Think about it. 'Cause people are like, well, then why are all these people saying I need this much protein, this much protein? Because think about it. If I can convince you that you need such a huge amount of protein that you're probably not going to be able to get from your food alone, you're going to buy protein supplements. It's that easy, guys. Like, I don't like to sound pessimistic, and I'm not knocking like protein as a supplement either. If you're someone where, hey, it's quick, it's convenient for you, or that's a way that you like to get your protein in, by all means, go for it. I myself personally prefer getting my protein from actual foods, but it's okay to use the supplements, but the mindset that you need it. That's the thing, guys. Good rule of thumb. Anytime, and I just did a whole rant over this on my Instagram story the other day, anytime somebody tells you that you need this supplement, or they have a belief that makes you feel like you need this supplement, it's usually wrong. Because there is absolutely no supplement, even great supplements like creatine, that you need to make gains. Simple as that, guys. That's all I had to say. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment down below, let me know that you did. If you did not enjoy the video, leave a comment down below, letting me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, subscribe, keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.
I am the greatest.
Come on, look color.